That's not a smile.
This meeting is being recorded.
Got it. I think we're ready to start, James.
Hello, everyone. I'll just check that we're all okay to go. I want to get a thumbs up from Valerie, I believe. Let's just see how many people we've got. We've already got a question from Haytham. That's great. So we haven't even started. Brilliant. So Valerie, I just want to get a green light that we're good to move forward.
Right, so we're now able to start sharing. So James, do you want to take over and then we can dive right in?
I certainly do. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you all for being here. If you are in Turkey, then hello, and if you are somewhere else, then also hello. So following on from our Bosco conference event that we attended back in May, I believe that myself and Michelle, and we met with many people there, and this was an opportunity for us to share a little bit about Creative Zone, about who we are and what we do. Shellin's great presentation was delivered in the afternoon. So for some of you who missed that event, because I know a lot of people were there for the morning sessions, we wanted to use this as an opportunity to either remind people of who we are, or for those who missed out, this is an opportunity to learn a bit more about Creative Zone and about what we do. So thanks all for coming. I'm going to pass you now on to Shellin, who's going to talk a little bit about what we offer, and then afterwards we will talk a little bit about partnerships and the opportunity to work with Creative Zone, and then we'll do a bit of a Q&A session as well. All right, so over to you, Shellin. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right, guys, so I'm just going to touch on a little bit of an overview. I won't keep the presentation too long. We'll run through things in a kind of brief way, but obviously any questions that you've got throughout, just throw them in there. Anything I can answer on the spot, I will do. Other than that, I can obviously address them at the end, and there'll also be a bit of time for you to throw any specific questions as well. Some of them I may not be able to answer, as it will be very specific, but we can obviously arrange a follow-up call afterwards. So as James has mentioned, when we were in Turkey at the Bosco conference, we did touch on, well, quite a few things that Creative Zone do, but mainly the golden visa and the appeal to different people around the world. So that's what I'm kind of going to touch on today. So the advantages of a UAE business license and the 10-year golden visa. I'm having some technical issues, so I can't get to the next page. Give me a second. Right, okay. So a little bit about Creative Zone. So we are one of the longest standing business setup advisories in the UAE. So if you look anywhere online, we've got some really, really great responses and reviews. And as a company, we tend to cover everything from kind of beginning to end when it comes to the business. So the initial setup, visas, amendments, growth, expansion, anything like that. If you need support with tax and accounting, marketing, all of those kind of things, we can cover pretty much everything for you. Right, so sorry guys, you're gonna have to bear with me with the technical problems here. So a lot of people have heard of Dubai, but the UAE in general has a lot of appeal for different people around the world when it comes to businesses. You know, tax-wise, we're a great environment, especially if you're doing business internationally. It's still 0% tax. There are some local tax implications that have come in recently if you're doing business within the UAE, but even that is so low in comparison to other countries around the world. So it's only 9% on local business. There are so many reasons why people move over here. Geographically, it's a great location. Everything is pretty easy. There's such a great platform, whether you're a new setup or a larger business that's just expanding. Currency wise, because of where we are located, again, it's very easy to work with different countries worldwide. The banks are fully equipped and have the infrastructure to allow for that growth as well. So these are some of the benefits of the UAE. So when you have businesses here, these are some of the things that you can kind of look forward to. I've touched on a couple of them in the last slide, but you can see a bit of a run through there and an overview. So any questions on this, feel free to fire them over. So again, just some stats on Creative Zone as a whole and kind of what we do, how we work, how long we've been in business, the number of people that we've actually supported as well. And just, yeah, a little bit of what we can do for you and how we can help benefit you in your business in terms of growth or starting up in general. So again, I did touch earlier on some of the benefit. Oh, sorry guys. So yeah, some of the benefits of our different divisions within the group. So although we cover the initial kind of mainland and Freezone company formation, provide the PRO services and do everything to do with your residency, whether it's a visa that's linked to the business, or if you're going for a golden visa, employee visa, whatever it is, we can support with everything initially. Obviously, once the business is set up, there's obviously a lot of different aspects that you need to think about. So, you know, the tax and accounting side of things, we do have a division that can support you with that. The overall business support, so co-working space. Obviously, if you are a newer business or you're just entering the region, you might not necessarily want a full-time office. So we can support with some co-working space or like a virtual address to help you get started before you're at the point where you want to expand properly. If you need any legal services, anything like that, we have contacts. So even if it's not part of the Creative Zone kind of group, we do have partners that we work with, that we have worked with for a long time, and we can always put you in touch with them. Our concierge services are amazing in terms of, again, kind of entry to market. They can support with everything. We also have services where we can do market research to support you with that entry to market as well. When it comes to the financial side of things, one of the trickier things in the UAE is getting a bank account set up. So again, we've got a whole division that can support you with that to make sure that once you do set up your entity, you can get going and things can start running quite smoothly. So the Dubai Golden Visa is pretty much what we focused on when it came to the Bosco conference. So this is becoming more and more of a main attraction for the UAE. There are different ways to actually get the Golden Visa. Sorry, excuse me. So there are loads of different ways to get the Golden Visa. So some people will get it through specialism. So when it comes to their career, kind of being known around the world, something kind of specialist about you. There's another route which is through income. So if you earn a certain amount in the UAE, then you can apply for a golden visa. And the other way is through investment. So if you invest 2 million dirhams worth of equity into a property, then we can actually apply for a golden visa for you. Again, this side of things is pretty individual and specific to the person. So we can have a discussion to see what's going to be the best route for you. The golden visa is the longest visa that you can actually obtain in the UAE. You cannot get citizenship. So this is pretty much the best route in terms of security if you're planning on building a life within the UAE. So this just gives you a bit of an overview of the different countries that we cover. So we are specialists in UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. You've got some of the jurisdictions that we actually work quite closely with here. And it gives you a little bit of an overview. So if you do want to discuss anything kind of UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or golden visa related, you can reach out to us and we can support in all of those areas. Again, I've kind of touched on Creative Zone as a group. So this just gives you a little bit of an overview of the different parts of the business and kind of the different areas that we can help you with. So this section of the presentation is a bit more geared towards becoming a partner of ours. So it comes to whether or not you've got a client base or a network that you think could potentially benefit from coming into the UAE and obviously in turn make you some money. So I will hand you over to James now, and James can kind of take over and give you a bit of an overview of how the partnership works.
Thanks, Shelin. Appreciate it. So we're all about working with our partners and about developing relationships. Creative Zone is, as Shelin mentioned, the largest and obviously one of the most long-standing business setup advisory services in the UAE. And as you well know from Shelin's conversation, and if you know a little bit more about Creative Zone, we specialize in obviously mainland Freezone and offshore business licenses. In addition to that, obviously golden visas. Now, as also Shelly mentioned, we also do things like bank account openings for business and private. We also offer a number of different concierge services. So there's a number of different add-ons, and of course, as mentioned, also we do legal services, tax and accounting. So as a partner, what we're looking for is also people who have access to potentially clients who are also looking to set up a second license or potentially a golden visa in the UAE. And so, of course, our partnership program has been going for some time. It works very, very well. We work with numerous wealth managers, accountants, law firms, business setup advisory services in other countries. Citizenship by investment partnerships. So a number of these organizations are partners with us. And what they do is our partnership, actually, we try to sort of have a very sort of, it's very centric towards supporting their clients because we want to handle and manage their clients. So ultimately, we're here to support them and to add value to their existing service. Now, the good thing about that is that we provide, obviously, the number of USPs. So here we go through some of the USPs, which is basically we do referrals. Obviously, there's a referral commission service, of course. So anyone that you introduce to us, we obviously, pay a referral, of course. But in addition to that, it's also that you're provided with a dedicated consultant. So anytime you need advice, support, there's always someone there dedicated to you to get you all the information that you need. Naturally, we have obviously a wide range of services. So it's not just one niche product, but many products. And of course, you have access to our clients and networking events and things like webinars as well. If we go on to the next slide. So more so as well, you have obviously an additional revenue stream, but it's the ability to also generate a reduced tax income for your clients and also potentially for yourselves as well. We've got a lot of our partners who themselves have actually opened an account with us. They've set up a license. And by doing that, what we do is we actually, feed commissions and referrals into that business license. So it's sort of not really part of what they're doing in their particular country. And so again, these are just different ways that we can support you and figure out how we can obviously help to reduce the amount of tax that you might be paying, say, in your country, but keeping it very much within the sort of the legality of what you're doing in your present country at the time. Where it gets interesting is that we also provide you with access to our material. So our marketing material is very good because at the end of the day, when you are presenting to say our Creative Zone services and products to your clients, what we can do is we can actually, in effect, white label them so that they have your contact details, your logo, your branding, and of course, any inquiries. In addition to that, we can also set up a landing page. I'm going to show you here, I believe there's a, if I go onto this click here, this shows you an example. Is it working? Here we go. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Okay, if it's not working, don't worry. Okay. We have it? Don't worry, it's fine. So it was just, we can go back to the, we can go back to it. Oh, we have it? Ah, okay, perfect. So this is actually a landing page that we did for one of our partners. And so what will happen is that you'll have your branding and you'll have your information. So for example, let's say you're based in Turkey or Nigeria or wherever you're based, and you want to have, and you have also access to potentially clients as well. So what we can do is we can set up a landing page for you, and then any inquiries that come from this landing page, from this inquiry, will come to us, and we will know that that comes from you. And then obviously there'll be also all referrals will be managed and covered immediately. So this is just another opportunity for us to sort of expand our brand, Creative Zone, into new markets. But in addition to that, what's interesting is that it's an opportunity for you, being in your country, to also learn about this market and give you a foothold into this market. Because obviously, with the UAE, it's also the GCC, the things that are happening in Saudi Arabia at the moment. There's huge growth at the moment. So we're seeing a lot of UAE companies also opening offices in Saudi Arabia. Naturally, we're in a position where we can support businesses to open business licenses in that country, also Qatar. But in addition to that, it's also about the network, because really Dubai, the UAE, is such a hub for Middle East, for Africa, for Asia. So again, it gives you an opportunity to kind of learn a bit more about this market. And so potentially either having a partnership with us or having a business license in this market would mean that you have access to this, this up and coming or very emerging market, as it were. So that's where we are with partnerships. Now, if you want to become a partner, it's very easy. It's very simple. We would just maybe arrange a call and we can talk a little bit about that. And then what we do is we just send you an agreement and then we move forward. And we talk to you a little bit about how we can also help you to actually push this forward into your sort of client or portfolio of network of people that you know. Go to the next one. Okay, so we have a Q&A session now. I know a number of you have got some questions. So what I'll do is I'll just read out the questions here. And then Shellin, if you can jump on as well, and then we can actually go through them together. Yes, so I've got from Abdul, it would be great to send us the recording of this webinar. Yep, no problem. We can send you the recording of this webinar. That's okay. We've got one from, where are we now? You're interested to know about collaborating in the Middle East. Okay, so that's from Dr. Rojith Grindin. So yeah, we're happy to talk about collaborations. Absolutely. I think you're in India. That's great. We've got a lot further than Turkey. That's fantastic. Where are we now? Here we are. Hi, do we do KSA golden visas? So this is golden visas for Saudi Arabia. Shelley, you could probably answer that question.
So yes, there are golden visas. Yes, we can cover it, but I'm not a specialist on the KSA ones. So I'd have to put you in touch with someone else. So if you want some specific information, then you can obviously reach out after this. I'm assuming our contact information will be listed somewhere. Alternatively, you can just go on LinkedIn, send Creative Zone a message or send me a message direct, and I will put you in touch with the right person.
Perfect. Where have we got now here? Just bear with me one moment. Okay. Is it allowed to work and part-time business startup? Shellin, over to you.
There's a few in between there, but yeah, we'll go back to the other ones, guys. Yeah. So in terms of working and having a business part-time, absolutely. It just depends on your situation, who you're working for. If you are kind of sponsored by a company and they are the ones sponsoring your visa, then there may be a situation where you need to get an NOC. Depending on what the business is, how you're operating, which countries you're targeting, those kind of things, there are certain situations where we wouldn't need an NOC, which is a non-objection certificate, just for those who are not currently in the UAE and do not know what that is. So yeah, feel free to get in touch and I will happily advise you on whether or not you would need one, just based on the business that you are planning to do. So I'll scroll back up a little bit, James, because I'm not sure if you're seeing all of them. So there's one from Harish, which is, can I know the startup business process? So every business is very different. It depends on what you're doing, where we're setting up, kind of what the plan of action is. Again, it's going to be very kind of specific to what your business is doing and what your plans are. So again, we can have a one-on-one conversation, but effectively, if you want to set up a business in the UAE and you're going to need residency, we'd start by setting up a license for you, which on average takes a couple of weeks, depending on, again, where you're setting up, any external approvals, those kind of things. Once that's done, the immigration card will be issued and then we will apply for a residency visa for you. Once that's done, set up the bank account and then you are ready to go. Can you see
Perfect.
the next one, James?
Which one are you, Q&A or webinar chat?
So I will read this one out. So we are Interfisheries e-commerce through our project. Interested to know about collaboration opportunities. Okay, so I'm assuming you mean expanding into the country. Kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to expand the business into the UAE, then absolutely. Again, we can have a one-to-one conversation, because depending on what it is that you're actually going to be doing here, whether it's just invoicing, marketing, or if you're actually going to be moving the logistics here, there will be different routes in terms of actually getting set up here. So just reach out direct, and again, we can go into a bit more detail about that for you.
We've got my questions on the side costs of company registration accounting. How can we find out about these things?
Sorry, say that again, James.
Under the one you were reading, it says, my question is about the side costs. That is from Ali Javadi. My question is about the side costs of company registration and accounting. How can we find out about these things?
So the tax and accounting costs, we can obviously put you in touch with Creative Zone Tax and Accounting, and they can run through everything. Again, this is going to be very individual to the business, depending on how many transactions you have, what it is that you need from them, if it's bookkeeping, if it's registrations for anything, all of those kind of things will impact that. So we can obviously put you in touch with someone from your tax and accounting team to discuss that in a bit more detail.
Then you've got underneath, you've got from Funda, who said, hello, sorry if I missed it, but could you just quickly summarize the conditions of obtaining a golden visa?
Yeah, absolutely. So version, 30,000 dirhams of income a month in the UAE for a minimum of 6 months, or 2 million dirhams worth of equity in a property within the UAE. That's the simple two answers.
So if Funda is basically living abroad, okay, is a resident of another country, doesn't have 6 months of salaries going into the personal bank, how would we set it up?
So we do have a bit of a creative way into the market where we can set up a business for you. You can have a visa against that business, pay yourself a particular salary, whatever that may look like, minimum 30,000 if the goal is to get a golden visa, and then after 6 months, apply for the golden visa for you. So that would give you a business license, the visa in the interim, allow you to open a bank account, and then we can obviously apply.
So all in all, that probably takes about, say, anywhere between 7 to 9 months to get the full golden visa, the whole process, because they need to see 6 months of accounts. It takes about a month to basically process everything. And then that person would probably need to do, if they want to have a license from another country, they would need to just pop over one time and do the medical, and then they can go back to their home country. Is that correct?
So they can do, providing you've been to the UAE previously, then you can set up the business remotely because it will be in a free zone. So once that's set up, the only time you would have to physically visit is to do the visa part of the process. Once the visa part of the process is done, you can leave the country, but you would need to come back in for the interview with the bank. So that's the only kind of last little bit of admin that you need to visit for. That's normally arranged about a week or so after the initial applications for the bank. So once the visa's done, you've kind of got control of the time.
Okay, thank you so much. We're getting some exotic questions now. So proprietary trading of crypto commodities in Dubai and bank account.
Right, so crypto is a little bit of a tricky activity over here. They have recently began regulating this. Again, crypto is one of those activities that when I'm setting up for a client, I do need to know a lot more information in terms of what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be operating, who you're targeting, what's going to be happening from here. Is it your own coins? Is it, you know, there's a lot of follow-up questions to that. So again, for M, if you want to reach out, I can probably give you a bit more of an individual consultation on that, because crypto is one of those kind of industries that's a little bit tricky to just give a one sentence answer. It's not a one shoe fits all.
Great stuff. Ali Javadi, is it possible to get a 2-year green visa by buying a property worth 750,000 dirhams?
I would have to get an update on the current situation with the green visa. That was launched a few months ago. Then there was some difficulty getting applications through. The goalposts have moved somewhat recently with some of the visas. So again, I would probably need to double check with the visa team and just confirm what the situation is with that one right now and what we need to do to make that happen. So again, we'd have to get back to you on that. I think the team have actually posted my direct contact details there. So anything kind of specific for you guys, please feel free to send me a WhatsApp or an email or give me a call after this, and I'm happy to discuss it with you.
Great stuff. Zandi asked an interesting question. Is there a requirement for a degree or specific designation in addition to the 30,000 salary?
So typically you would need a degree of some sort. But again, it's very individual and based on your entire profile. So if you have a specific specialism, for example, you know, we just have to look at your profile as a whole, and then we can take it from there.
Great stuff. Aziwaju, I believe that you would like to become a partner. Excellent. We'd love to have you as a partner, and anyone else, obviously. So post this call, you can see in the webinar chat, there's contact details of both Shellen and myself. You can email, you can take, or you can give us a call, send us a WhatsApp, no problem at all. And also you can send us a further email as well. If you can only be a short time, so like 1 week or 2 weeks, and do some business, how can I get a visa? Okay, interesting. Okay, thanks for Miko. Thank you. So you want to basically get a visa within a couple of weeks. I'm not sure if that question about that one.
So I think I semi-answered that earlier in terms of you can potentially set up a Freezone company within the UAE, and then the physical aspect would be the visa, which effectively would be around 2 weeks anyway. So I hope that answers the question. But yes, 2 weeks for the visa on the ground is enough, but there is a little bit of admin that needs to be done before that. James, I'm going to go through some of the Q&A questions because I think some of them are slipping through the net at the moment.
I can see them as well on the other side. Go for it.
Okay, so Harish has asked about paperware products distribution license. So again, you can open in either the mainland or the Freezone. If you're going to be targeting the UAE, depending again on how you're operating, you would need to look at a mainland if you do want to freely operate within the UAE. But depending on how you're going to be working, then a Freezone could potentially work for you as well. So again, we can have a conversation about that if you've got a plan and a timeline in mind as well. Right, is it possible to join the Creative Zone networking events, even though we created our company in the past, not with Creative Zone? I don't think our team would be opposed to that. So I'm sure someone can kind of discuss that with you afterwards. Again, just reach out to myself or James and we'll put you in touch with the right division.
Harish.
Yeah. So initial stage of paperware distributions products, how to buy and sell, because I will be charged VAT and Intel stage. Okay, again, with the detail, I think, Harish, we should probably have a conversation because I'm assuming there's going to be quite a few follow-up questions and answers to this discussion as well. And of those until you hit a certain threshold, but again, it depends how you're going to be operating. So just reach out and let me know, and we can have a conversation.
Also back
Roger,
on the webinar chat. Yeah, we have. If you leave your current employer and on the webinar chat, we also have another one. If you leave your current employer and set up your own business, for example, a consulting firm, is an NOC required if your business is offering a similar service to your previous employer?
So in terms of an NOC, no. Obviously, this will be very specific to whether or not you have signed a non-compete or there's anything in your kind of specific contract that you have with that company. But from a business setup perspective, no. An NOC is only required for setting up a business because they're sponsoring your visa. So if you leave a business and you're effectively going to set up your own business and sponsor yourself, that business no longer has any interest or ties. Again, if you have an agreement within that business that you are not allowed to work for a competitor or start something similar for a period of time, that's a totally separate issue, and you'd need to get legal advice on kind of what your next steps would be.
Okay, I think that's about it. Can you see any other questions? Oh, here's a few more, sorry, back in the Q&A. Actually, no, did we cover that? Do we pay for paperwork products, my clients will be B2B, but my Freezone license holders can't deal with them. Is that right? That's from Harish.
Again, this depends on the logistics, Harish. It's going to be really difficult for me to dissect your whole business on a webinar. We probably should have a conversation after this. You've got my details in the chat, so we can definitely run through the specifics. With B2B, it depends, again, who you're working with. Are you going to be working with other free zones? Are you going to be working with mainland? Is it going to be mainly international? Where's the logistics happening? There are so many follow-up questions, and I don't, we don't need to dissect your whole business in front of everyone. So let's have that conversation one-to-one, and we can see where that goes and what you need to do.
Okay, I think we're about done. I think if anyone has any other questions now, I'll give it.
I'm not sure if anything's come through on LinkedIn that we haven't got yet.
Let's just check.
Any more questions?
As mentioned, sorry. So with regards to if you are interested in setting up a free zone company or a mainland, or want to learn more about offshore, or you want to learn more about how to set up a golden visa, then by all means contact Shellin or myself, but contact Shellin. She will be able to support you with any information and tell you what kind of documentation, the processes, etc. Anyone that's looking to set up a partnership with us, that would like to work with us, I can give you a bit more information about that as well. So by all means, contact me as well. But you can contact either of us, and it'll, everything will be diverted to the right people. All right.
I think if there are no more questions, we're pretty much done.
That's it.
Maybe we'll give another minute and see if anyone's got anything else they need. You're welcome, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, thanks everyone, and until the next time, all the best. Thank you, Shellin.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.